Okay, y'all, what are we up to tonight? Well, tonight we're going to be doing a little bit of cooking. What we're going to be making tonight is one of my old favorites from when I was growing up, and it's a hamburger, cabbage, and vegetable soup. So we're going to get started on it, and we're going to take you along with us, show you just how we do it here at Deep South Bama. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef. You're going to need an onion. Now you can use small, medium, or large depending on how much onion you like. Same thing with your garlic. You can use a head, 2, 4 cloves. Here again, it's whatever you like. I like a lot of garlic and a lot of onion, so I'm using a whole head of garlic and a large onion. Then what you're going to need is a skillet of some type. I'm using a cast iron skillet. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this ground beef and we're going to bring it over here and start browning it in the skillet while we go ahead and get our onions and our garlic all chopped up and ready to go. And we'll be adding that in once we brown the ground beef. Okay, what I've done is I've transferred the ground beef from the packaging to a paper plate, and I've just chunked it up. Now we're going to start adding it to a hot skillet. Now what I've done here is I've added just a touch of olive oil in to the skillet. That's just so the ground beef, when I add it, won't immediately stick to the skillet. So we're just going to slide that off in that hot skillet. There we go. Now that we've added the ground beef in, just going to break it up a little bit. Now you don't want to break it up till it's nothing but crumbles. For soup, you're going to want to leave it sort of chunky. We're going to let that brown. Now while this meat is browning, we're going to go over and get that onion chopped up, get our garlic all chopped up, ready to add in with the meat. Now something I want to show you here that's real important when you're browning your ground beef. We'll try to zoom in here, see if you can see here. You see how it's getting brown instead of just getting gray? That's what you want to do. You want to get some color on your meat. Far too many times in cooking videos, I see people saying they brown their ground beef. Well, at best, they just gray it off. You want to make sure it gets a little bit of that brown crustiness to it. It's in the brown that gives it all the flavor. As you can see, we've removed the brown ground beef out of the skillet. And the skillet's sitting here off the fire right now. So now what we're going to do, we've already got our onion chopped while the ground beef was browning. And we've also got our garlic all chopped up. Remember, 1 small, medium, or large onion, based on your preference. I used 1 whole head of garlic, came out to be about 8 cloves. Here again, you can use 1, 2, 4, whatever you like. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, put our cast iron skillet back up on the heat, let it come up to heat a little bit, and then we're going to add those onions back to it. Okay, we've returned the pan to the heat now. Got it heating up there, in fact smoking a little bit, so the oil's plenty hot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our onions here, go ahead, pop them into that hot pan right there. Break them up some. we're just going to let these onions cook in this leftover hamburger grease so they get a little bit of color on them. Here again, the flavor is in the browning and the caramelization. Now when you brown and caramelize your onions, it's going to make the onions a little bit sweeter. It's going to add a lot of flavor to that soup a little bit later on. Now you can cut up your onions any size you want them. I like to cut mine up rather coarsely for more country style soup. As you can see, we've got those onions and they're just starting to brown a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add in the garlic. We got it right here. I'm trying to hold the camera, add in garlic too. So we've added in the garlic to our browned onions. Now you don't want to leave this garlic on the heat very long at all. About a minute. Then we're going to take these out and drain them on some paper towels. We're going to start getting things ready. Start putting the soup ingredients in the big pot. Well, our chicken stock here, or broth, is starting to come up to temperature. While it was coming up to temperature, we went ahead and got the carrots all chopped up. This is a coarse chop. We got our celery hearts and leaves all chopped up coarse. We got our ginger chopped. And we got our potatoes chopped. Now here's a little tip too. If you don't want your potatoes getting brown, make sure as soon as you get them peeled and diced or cubed or whatever you want, here I've got coarse chopped, put them in water, cover them up. That way they won't turn brown on you. Because with a soup, the key to it, especially with your vegetables, you don't dump them all in at one time. We're going to start with the carrots. They're the hardest root vegetable, and we're going to put them in first. Just going to slide them on in here to this nice hot chicken broth. And we're going to set the timer for 20 minutes. And when that timer beeps, then what we're going to do is we'll start adding in the potatoes, the celery, and the ginger. Okay, carrots have been on for 20 minutes. We're going to turn that timer off. We're going to start adding in the other ingredients. Got our hamburger here. Just slide that on off in there. Got our celery hearts. Go ahead and put in our onions and garlic. We got our chopped ginger. Slide that in there. A little quick stir. And now we'll go ahead and slip these potatoes on in there. There we have it. Give it all a nice quick stir. And now we've got to add the seasoning. So we're going to start by putting a little sea salt in there. Now, if you want to measure it, I would say about a teaspoon. Here again, you can just use a grinder, grind some in, taste it, see if it's to your liking. Then we're going to grind some fresh black pepper, about a half teaspoon to start. Got that in there. About a half teaspoon of thyme leaves, not ground, but leaves. About a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And about a teaspoon, half to a teaspoon of rosemary. We got all that in there. We're just going to give that a nice stir. And we're going to start letting this soup simmer. Now we're going to let this soup simmer for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to add the last two ingredients in. Because you're probably wondering, I said it was going to be hamburger, cabbage with root vegetables. Now, cabbage is the last thing you're going to put in with one other ingredient. So we'll set the timer, 30 minutes. And we'll come back when that timer goes off. While our soup is sitting here simmering, about 23 minutes to go, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to get cutting up our small head of cabbage. So it's all ready to go once that timer comes off. And we'll be adding one small head of cabbage, and we'll just chop it coarse. And we'll be adding a can of stewed tomatoes. Well, there's the timer. It's been simmering for 30 minutes. Now we'll have to go get that chopped cabbage and add it in. So all we did was we coarsely chopped one small head of cabbage. They're about 1-inch pieces. And we're just going to add them right on in. There we go. Now we're going to have to add a little bit more chicken broth to cover up our cabbage. And when I add the first box, I said it was 32 ounces. Well, I'm sorry. It was actually 48 ounces. So we're going to add some more to cover up the cabbage and put in the final ingredient. Okay, we've added the cabbage. Now we're going to pour in a little bit more chicken stock, just so we cover up the cabbage. There we go. Now, for the final ingredient, we're going to add a can of stewed tomatoes. Now, you could use diced tomatoes. I prefer the stewed. I think they have a little bit more flavor than just regular diced tomatoes. And we're going to give that all a stir. And we'll show you what we got. So we've added in the chopped up cabbage, about 1-inch chunks. Then we added in a can of stewed tomatoes. Like I say, you could use diced. Really doesn't matter, I just prefer the stewed tomatoes over the diced. And we're going to let this simmer for another 30 minutes. So we'll be back. And then we'll taste it, see if we need to add any seasoning. And we'll pour a bowl up. Okay. It had simmered for about 35 minutes, and I came and tasted the cabbage. It was still a little bit gets chewy. So I added another 15 minutes and the timer just went off. So now what we're going to want to do is now is the time that we want to check our seasoning. So we're going to get a nice big spoon. You're going to go in there and get some of that broth. And it is hot. Oh yeah, that's just about right. But now would be the time to add any more salt, pepper, or any of the other seasonings if you felt it was needed. So now what we're going to do, put a little bit in a bowl, and we're going to see how it tastes. Well, I went ahead and put a little bit here in this bowl. Now what we're going to have to do is give it a taste and see just how good it is. So here goes. Oh, that is good. Now if you wanted to kick it up a little bit, add a little bit of heat or spice to it, you go ahead and put in a little bit of red pepper flakes, sprinkle them on top of your bowl, or a little bit of that world famous Slap Your Mama. But there you have it. There's your hamburger and cabbage soup with root vegetables. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. I'll put the recipe in the video description below. Till next time, folks, y'all take care, stay safe, and God bless. Bye for now.